It's the final percent. The final percent. Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of the Final Percent podcast. I have one of my very, very best friends, my business partner, my bandmate, basically my brother, transformation expert, transformation extraordinaire, one of the best human beings I know joining me today, Mr. Drew Dugan. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day so that we can, just kind of talk about the journey and talk about what's going on, man.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for having me. Thanks for the kind words. I almost felt like a crowd sound should happen. Like after that introduction.
Well, yeah, we'll add it in post.
Yeah. I think we gotta figure out how to do that.
We could probably figure out how to do that. Well, just a little bit of our story. You came through KMG as a student, and then ended up the CEO, ended up one of the owners, and now we're in TFP, changing lives. It's pretty incredible what you've accomplished, man. I'd say transformation expert is it's literally, most people use it too soon, but it feels not even enough to describe what you've actually accomplished, man.
Well, I appreciate that. And I like the term or the phrase transformation expert. I know yours is perseverance expert. You've used that before.
Yeah.
I've always kind of wondered what mine is, and it could be the same too, for sure. But that sparked something for me.
Well, if you transform the way that you have, it's very apparent you're also a perseverance expert, because man, right. You and we were actually talking about it before we got on the podcast. We were talking about, a lot of people see, we both went through our own weight loss journey. I lost, 45, 50 pounds. How much have you lost so far?
From July, I've lost 100, and it's more than that from my heaviest. My heaviest, I was 350-ish. When you get that heavy, you stop weighing yourself. It's this weird thing that happens where you're not stoked about what the weight says or what the scale says. But I have a few here and there on the app from a smart scale I was using before I went Garmin gang, and 100 plus 120 maybe.
Yeah, because I can't remember the exact weight, but it was like 354. Is that a weight that's yeah. So 354, and if anybody, is trying to tackle from the mindset to the health set to the nutrition, really reach out to Drew and talk to him, because he's uniquely qualified to help you in every single part of those journeys, because whatever thoughts you've had about quitting, I promise you he's had.
Yeah. In both respects, quitting, stopping something that's good for you, and also, quitting other things too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing to look at old pictures and what you've done. But as we were talking, we realized, because we are perseverance experts, and we will make our mind up and we'll just go all in. Really, and we'll stay there for months and months and months. And we're not negotiating with ourselves. What we did is we realized that maybe people need to watch the door get cracked open just a little bit. So they need to see, what can happen in, say, 7 days. So we were actually in our morning meeting this morning, and then we were live in our Facebook group, which, if you're listening to this podcast, you're not a part of our Facebook group. It's the Final Percent Network. Look us up on Facebook and you can kind of see behind the scenes. We go live. Drew goes live on Thursday for Transformation Thursday. And You can hear a lot of our stories, but we had the idea of what if we did a 7-day sprint where, we go all in for 7 days and just tighten everything up, turn the intensity up, document what we're doing, document the process. What happens if we go all in for 7 days and we, talk about it in the Facebook group, probably have a follow-up podcast so that people can, watch the door get cracked open? Because right now people will see our before and afters for either of us. And, we took a bulldozer and knocked down a building. So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, must be nice.
It is.
It is. And yeah, so you could probably talk about this. Being 100 pounds lighter than you used to be, is it nice?
Yes. I
So-
have many. Yeah.
So your heaviest was 354 that I remember seeing, like I was a part of your life. Now you weighed yourself, yesterday or today. What's the current weight at?
236.
236. I don't think people really understand how incredible that is, but you have had a goal in your mind and on your heart. You've had a goal to get to a certain weight. What is that number?
220. I don't know
You
why. But, well,
It's
actually, kind of know why. You talked about biking and said the weight to get to the bike, to be able to get on a road bike is, I always remember you had said it as 220. Apparently it was 240, but for some
Yes,
reason we never stuck around. It's been a long time coming. Greg's no stranger to me talking to him about wanting to lose weight, trying to lose weight. It's been an ordeal.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do this sprint that starts tomorrow, starts on the 31st. We're gonna do a sprint. What's your bold claim?
I'll lose 16 pounds in 7 days.
So you're gonna hit your 220 number.
Yeah.
You're gonna. All right. So guys, just so you guys know, we're gonna go feet to scale and we're gonna document what we're up to so that people understand what is going on. And we had a conversation that I think would be helpful for people, because you guys, like, we had a back workout. I think it was Saturday.
Yeah.
And killer workout. I mean, it was so fun. And full disclosure, if you're out there and you're trying to lose weight or just be healthier, find yourself a person to do it with. Not necessarily for, because it should be for yourself, but do it with somebody. Because I'll tell you, I mean, it was probably my favorite back workout I've had since I've started working out again, because I had Drew with me, and because he's pushing me, I'm pushing him, and it was fun. The energy was great. I felt a ton of the effects, and and that's really what gave me this idea. However, he's trying to hit this number, but he's now lifting more, so he's creating more muscle. And so what we realized, take us through the process of trying to get two things accomplished at the same time, and all of those things, like that conversation, just so that we can help other people understand the idea why we're going to do this sprint.
Definitely. So I've lost, from maybe not exactly 354, but those 100 plus pounds since July. I think it was July 7th or so that I really started this thing. So 7 months or whatever that comes out to. Found what works through trial and error, not a specific plan per se, but the goal was always to just stay in cut mode, essentially, to get down to 220. And I started hitting lower and lower, got to about 240, got really excited and started to lift more, because I do want to be, built in a strong way. I don't want to be a skinny. I'm just not a skinny person. I like the strength component. So, and then, the scale started plateauing quite a bit. I would still lose some, but nothing near as drastic as before. And I had talked to Greg about, like, hey, what do you think I should cut out of the diet? Here's what I'm doing. and what are your thoughts on that? And basically, if you try to lose weight and also gain muscle at the same time, you'll end up just probably gaining muscle, and you'll lose fat too, but the scale won't reflect that, which is fine. But I've had such a stamp in my brain of hitting the 220 that it was just getting a little frustrating. So the idea is to cut down to 220 to then switch over to a more strength training based workouts and things. So that's kind of where that comes from.
And I think that's important for a lot of people out there, because when I was losing my weight, I mean, I didn't even touch a weight for 4 or 5 months, whatever it was. I wouldn't, because I knew that I was going to build muscle. But I mean, as you saw, like right when I hit that, and I just hit whatever the number was. For me, I had to get under 200, and I hit 199.7. So I mean, I was definitely on the edge of hitting my goal, but man, I hit it. It felt great. And then it was like the next day I was like, okay, I'm going to lift some weights. Hey, I'm going to do this. And now, honestly, I don't really care about my weight. However, what I am going to, what I'm going to do is, my bold claim is I'm going to do before and after photos to show people, hey, here's where I was, and here's what I can do in 7 days when I just lock it down, when I go all in. And I'll tell you guys, it's going to be so much easier for me to do this having Drew there with me. When I was losing my weight, and Drew, you can probably speak on this, there's so many times when you're alone trying to do something where you're just like you're going to battle with yourself, not for yourself. Like literally you're going to battle with yourself, just trying to stay on the treadmill for 30 extra seconds. Or you're going to battle every time you even kind of smell a cheeseburger. Like, God, that cheeseburgers and wings are always going to be my thing. Like, if I smell those things when I'm trying to cut down, it's just, it's my favorite food. And when Drew and I had this, we were like, let's lead by example. And so, I'm not trying to hit a specific weight, but, I'm going to go down probably, no more than 50 carbs a day. Really up my cardio and strength training. And instead of, for my strength training, I'm going to go from a build mode into a lean mode. So, I'll be high rep and do things, but we're going to chronicle what a sprint looks like. And then Drew and I are going to hold each other accountable. Like I've got my battle bottles sitting right next to me. I'm going to be pounding water. I know Drew's going to be pounding water, because there's really no better substance to put into your body. And making the declaration, there's something that happens inside your head when you say, hey, like for instance, his declaration is, I want to get to 220. Now, I know a lot of people, it's not about the number on the scale, and it's not this, it's not that. I get that. And if he's doing the same thing at the same, or he's doing the two things at the same time, yes, I get just the recomposition of your body. However, there's something inside of Drew where he said, I'm going to hit 220. And realistically, he's not going to go to the next level until that number happens. But right when that number happens, the next phase. So if you thought whatever happened in 7 months or whatever it's been was crazy, watch this next chapter. Because that's what happened with me. I lost all this weight, but I mean, we put it out there like I'll see if Owen can find this. When I did the before and after of, me losing my 45 pounds, I'm 5 pounds heavier than I was in the before and after picture of when I got below 200. But I look drastically different now, because I went from a cut phase to a build phase. And now, I really care about health. Drew and myself and Dr. Eileen, we're starting our own supplement company. Because what we want to do is we started trying to figure out supplements, and we realized, what is this rocket sauce 12,000? We don't understand what any of this stuff is. Like, you go into these supplement stores and you're like, how could any human possibly need to ingest all of these things? Why can't it just say protein, and be super high quality. And so, that's what we're striving for, vitality, not just looks. And there's something about achieving your goal and making sure that you don't have the declaration stay a declaration. And one thing we talk a lot about is a declaration remaining largely ceremonial. A declaration becomes a decision with specific and consistent action. And we were hanging out on Saturday, and Drew was slinging weights with me. I'm not gonna lie, but he's just like, yeah, but I still want to hit this 220 number. And I just asked him, well, then why don't you do it? Let's just do it. Let's just double down and like go all in and just get it done, and then let's build that body, man. And here's what I love about Drew. He's like, okay, yeah, like, and I could see it in your face right when we had that conversation, right when you said, okay, the belief was there, and I knew it was basically already done. So if anyone thinks that he's not going to hit this number in 7 days, I promise you, if I've learned one thing, being in business and being friends with Drew for, 6-7 years now, trust me, don't bet against him. You will not win that bet. So talk to me about your current mindset, the confidence that's come from losing weight, where you want to go, the importance of health, like all of these things that are happening inside of you now because you changed that declaration into a decision.
Right. Well, I think the confidence has been huge, and it's an interesting thing though, because, you lose a bunch of weight, 100 pounds in 6 months, 7 months, whatever it's been. And then, you're a different person now mentally, obviously physically, but it's the mental component that's the biggest change from a confidence standpoint, from a self-love standpoint, self-worth, and putting yourself first and foremost. A lot of people say that, but then they don't, myself included. I've been there, and it's, I look back at these pictures and it's really exciting and awesome that I've done it, but I also always hesitate to say that I've done it, or if someone says, hey, good job, or well done, or something of that nature, it's almost a weird thought, because I don't feel that's an issue for me, is having finished it, having reached the end of the, like, this is a lifelong thing for me, and it's not something I did and have finished. It's who I am now, and I haven't. It's been really interesting where people say certain things like, congratulations on your achievement, and I like kind of just get this weird feeling when I read that from people or hear that, because that's what's kind of gotten me off track in the past, where I would lose 30 pounds and then be like, I did it, and then stop doing it. Which is, it seems crazy, but that's what I think we do, and not just in health, but in life in general, is we'll kind of, run and then reach the finish line that we made up in our heads, and then stop running. And that's been a big thing for me, just mentally, where it's not something I've done, it's just what I do and who I am. And I've started skiing again, which is one of, a big love of mine, and getting back to my roots of who I am, being an outdoors person, being able to hike and walk and climb, whatever it might be. Tying your shoes also easily is not bad either. So there's a lot of things there, and it's a funny thing too. One other thing I'll mention is the shame component of, because I still was me 7 months ago, obviously, no surprise there. But so when you look back at those pictures, it creates this weird feeling of like, how did I let that happen? And feeling the shame of that being me, and being like, wow, this is amazing accomplishment, or, for lack of a better term, amazing thing. I hesitate from saying anything, finite. This is now who I am. I've transitioned into this new phase of myself. But that was me 6 months ago. And that's, I hold myself to a high standard and high expectations. It's I guess like despicable. It's like, how did I allow myself to be that?
How was I that person?
Yeah, and it wasn't even that long ago. It seems like a long time ago based on who I've become in that time, mentally, physically, all of the above. But it's this weird shame thing that's been coming up when I look back at those pictures, which I wasn't really expecting that component to arise after, finally dropping 100 pounds. I thought it would all be, roses and, well, I was going to say cupcakes, but no cupcakes. It'd all be amazing. It'd all be amazing. But this shame component is really interesting. And I think that's a huge concept in and of itself of, okay with who you were, not based on who you are, and understanding that's in the past and it's a journey, and who you were built who you've become and are today in this moment, and not to feel shameful about who you were, because it's part of the process of how you became who you are now. So that's just an interesting thing that I've thought about.
Yeah, I think that's actually really good insight. The other thing that I know I've go through almost on a daily basis, and I know that you're starting to experience as well, is when you better yourself, when you make the different decision and you choose the new path and you become the new you, it seems like people come out of the woodwork to they're like mad that you're changing. They're mad that you're achieving stuff. So yes, there's people out there who are clapping and saying, "Oh, good job." But there's also people out there who are like, "Oh, why are you posting another gym photo? Oh, why are you hating on people who are overweight? Why are you doing this? Why are you And so it's just like, no matter what, you're gonna make someone mad. And I know that, I have gone through, people saying I need to unfollow you because you're so vain and you're, doing this. I'm like, no, I'm putting in a ton of hard work, and sure, I have pride, but I'm doing this because I'm very proud of who I am becoming, and I'm proud of my journey, and I am hoping to inspire people. But it's just amazing how when you become an example of decisions that other people want to make, but either are unwilling to, incapable of, or don't want to, it's amazing the shame that they have in themselves or insecurities that they have in themselves. And then they try to drag you down. They try to pull you down and be like, "Oh yeah, it's like, it's Mr. won't eat a carb. Oh, it's Mr. Jim. Oh, okay, cool." Or I recently had, someone that obviously we both know who I'm talking about. I know a lot of my listeners do too. But, I make all these strides and I bust my butt in the gym. And, we're walking through this restaurant and he's literally embarrassing me so much, telling the hostess, people at random tables being like, "My friend takes steroids. My friend takes steroids. Oh, my steroid friend." We sit down, the waiter comes up and he's just like, "Oh, sorry about my friend steroid boy. He's probably going to have to eat like 6 steaks to feed his muscles." And I'm just like, are you that insecure, or do you need to cut me down because you wish you would have worked out? I just don't know where it comes from. And I know you've shown me a few, comments and posts of people, "Hey, I'm going to unfollow you. Hey, I can't believe you did this." I think one of the things that sharing your perspective on, when people see you change and they see that transformation, there are going to be people who are mad that you did it. And I love you've probably seen it on the reels that's going on. It's, pick whatever inspirational scene it is, and it's a voiceover saying, what if you actually did it? What if you actually did what you said you're going to do? What if you actually accomplished the things that you set out to do today? What if you actually lost the weight? What if you actually started the business? What if you actually did it? And now we're doing it, and then we've got a whole new group of people that are just like, "Oh, I hate this person." How are you dealing with that? Because when you transform, there's sometimes where you transform friends, or so you thought, into enemies because they're mad that you actually did it. So how do you battle with that when, you know, whether it's someone you know or don't know, when they're attacking your transformation?
Yeah, I've definitely dealt with this a lot over many years, not just with the weight, but with other things in my past, and transforming to better myself and let go of old habits and build into a better me. And so, I think, learning to be okay with yourself in whatever situation has been huge for me, whether you're grinding on the treadmill to get those last 30 seconds, or you're, trying to stay sober, or it's something of that matter. It's, putting yourself first and living with yourself in that moment. And that's helped me. I've been better at times and worse at times, like anyone. And yeah, the people, acting out based on like what you're posting is interesting. I had someone reach out on social media, and I don't really know her, but from a long time ago, and she said she was a fat activist, and was gonna like temporarily hide
I know the fact that I'm laughing, I probably just got canceled by somebody, but like nobody should be a fat activist. Like it's one of the worst things you can do for your life. Like you are actively taking you away from your family. You are taking decades away from your children, decades away from your friends, all because you think that you just need to, I don't know. I just,
I'm with you. I mean, I understand it from like, there's a lot of self-hate and loathing and depression that can arise from being fat. So the idea of, loving yourself as you are in the moment, aside from your, given circumstance, is really important. However, like promoting a lifestyle that, makes you obese, or just being obese in general, is very dangerous. And kind of, it's a fine line between accepting yourself as you are versus, having standards and reaching a goal. So
Yeah.
I don't know, I thought that was super interesting. And I thought it was hilarious, actually, because that's just something I wouldn't have, my prior self wouldn't have, expected to receive and read. And it was kind of a pat on the back, like, hey, you're making strides. You're actually
you're not one of us anymore. You're not fat. You're not allowed to talk about this.
Yeah, so wild. She said it in a nice way, so I mean, more or less, but it was just interesting. And just, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know being a fat activist was a thing. Something I've, thought of a lot is anyone that, and again, I could get canceled too, but like anyone that's fat who pretends to enjoy it or be okay with it or feel good is wrong. They're lying to themselves. I've been very fat before. I've been fit. I am now fit and will stay fit. Let's go. But
Let's go, babe.
let's go, right? It's terrible. Like, you don't feel good. You're mentally, you're not there. Eating McDonald's every day. What, I've done it all. I've been through it, and obviously everyone has their own feelings and story, and everyone is their themselves. But it's just not something to promote and be okay with. And you have to get to that point to change. You have to get to that, rock bottom, they say, and make that decision that something has to change. And for something to change, you need to not be okay with the circumstance or the present circumstance. So
Yeah, one of the things I say all the time is have vision over circumstance. Don't let your circumstance define you. And that's something I think that you have been so incredibly good at, is not letting circumstances define who you are or the destination. And that's so admirable. One of, and I'll end here. One of the things that's really transformed for me is, I used to love whiskey, love drinking, social drinking, doing this, that, and the other. I don't know if I'm ever gonna really drink again. I might have some wine at dinner with Kayla, but even we had a date night and I ordered one cocktail and I took one sip and I did not finish it. It's not even appetizing to me. And it's so interesting how much my mindset surrounding alcohol and fun and things that I put into my body, because, and another thing is, I have a 1-year-old. My life is not my own. I want to be around for him forever. And that's why I love you getting healthy. I mean, I don't know how many people know this, but they're about to find out. Like, Drew is so important to me. He's literally the godfather of my son. That's how important this guy is to me. And the reason that, Kayla and I chose him are things that everyone's finding out right here. How he is a perseverance expert. He will show up. He is a transformation expert. And he is setting an example of someone that I want Conrad to be around. I want him to see the healthy lifestyle. I want him to see the better decisions. And, one thing that I think that we should do, and I'll talk to you about this tomorrow. I think we're getting together because we're going to do this 7-day sprint. We're going to chronicle it. We're going to do a little documentary. We'll go live in the Facebook group and, go feet to scale and everything. But I think one of the things to truly understand the depth of your transformation, because your transformation is so much more than weight. And obviously you and I know that. So I think, maybe I would love to sit down with you. I'm getting ready to go to Canada on the 8th. So maybe when I get back, let's sit down and let's do like a 3 to 5 part series. And let's, kind of how I did the Homeless Millionaire to chronicle what's going on. Let's do a series to help people understand just how much of an expert you are at transformation. Because I promise you, anyone listening to this podcast right now, whatever you think he has accomplished, it's way cooler than that. It's way more than that. And when we say transformation expert, we're not kidding. And I have the highest respect for this man. It's an honor to call him the godfather of my child, business partner. He's helping me produce the upcoming Purple Explosion 2 album. I mean, we are, we're brothers, and we just want to lead and show people, what's possible. And that's why, you're hearing him talk about 7 months, I'm, 7, 8, 9 months, whatever I'm into this thing. We realize that asking people to do something for 9 to whatever months, that might be difficult. So we're going to show you what's possible in 7 days. And then hopefully that 7 days turns into 7 months. But even if it just turns into 8 days, and then maybe 9 days, and then maybe 1 month, and then maybe you keep going, ask us questions, reach out. We're here to help. We want to be an example so that people know that it's possible. And, I think when you really start the depth of what Drew's story is, we'll unpack that and do like a series on Drew, just because I think when people realize who you actually are, they're going to say, you know what, I it's time to change. Because, if he went through that and that and that and that and that and that and that, and now he's here, I gotta have a coffee with Drew. So anything that you want to add before we hop off of here, man?
No, I appreciate the kind words. So thankful and grateful to be the godfather. Love that guy so much. I don't know if you know, every time I come over, and that's the first thing I do.
Where's Conrad?
I hold him. But yeah, if the it's possible thing is huge. If whatever it is in your life, you can make it happen, whether it's physical or mental, and get through that rough patch. That's it. Like, if I can do it, I'm pretty sure you can do it.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I know for a fact this is not going to be the last time we're on here together. Also, coincidentally, I think, if you're listening to this, go to the YouTube channel. It's just YouTube, the final percent, I'm pretty sure. I'll just have Owen put a link in the comments here. But Drew and I did do another video podcast way back in the day. I challenge anyone who's gotten to the end of this. They went to the final percent. Go back and watch that one. And you look at who's sitting in front of me and you'll understand, this guy is changing before our very eyes. So anyway, so thank you so much, Drew. Thank you everyone out there in Listen Land, YouTube Land. And this has been the Final Percent Podcast.
It's the fire.